Today we're reacting to a video by Nintendo, how the Looney Tunes show modernized a classic franchise. Now Looney Tunes is one of my all-time favorite cartoons without a doubt. The classic franchise is one of those old cartoons I can go back to every single time without fail. I know Looney Tunes is like that, Regular Show, Dragon Ball, One Piece. Yeah, those are shows I can go back to every single time and not get bored. But I so badly wanted to make a video on the Looney Tunes show, which is kind of like an adaptation of the classic one, a modernized version if you will. And when this show came out back in 2011, it was like a marvel of a show to witness. My friends and I, especially my homies Shannon and Darren, we used to spam the hell out of this series. See, I don't want to yap too much on it. I'm really excited to get into this video because the Looney Tunes show is one of my all-time favorite cartoons. So without further ado, y'all know how it goes. Let's get into it.
Oh, hey, Grandma.
Kicking it off with a bang, man. I love me some Daffy Ducky. Oh, he's freak funny.
Release of Space Jam: A New Legacy got me thinking about the current legacy of the original Space Jam. It was a cultural phenomenon when it was released.
Yo, that's true. Space Jam was, an iconic film, man. Yo. The inclusion of Michael Jordan, it became a cult classic, you know. A lot of my generation talks about it to this day. Like, it's so iconic, man. Space Jam, they dropped the ball with Space Jam 2, though, I have to say that.
Only remember it for the dated CGI and compositing. Every other shot looking like it wanted to be in 3D.
To your house? In 3D land?
Yeah. And how this mashup
Love the Mario reference, man.
of two icons has become a staple of mashup culture. Y'all ever listen to the album that seamlessly tells the plot of the movie through Hamilton's musical numbers? I can't get enough of these transitions.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Your Airness, but if you don't find a fifth player, your team will forfeit the game.
Forfeit?
Precisely, Sir
Marvin the
Altitude.
Martian.
No way. We'll find someone.
That guy.
Obviously, the film has always had detractors, but removed from the nostalgia surrounding its debut, Space Jam has become a joke. Although it's memorable enough to warrant a sequel after 25 years.
Facts,
This
LeBron
past spring,
James.
I saw a resurgence of popularity for the Looney Tunes show online, which dropped the cast into a suburban setting and ran on Cartoon Network for 2 seasons.
Yo.
People were sharing loads of memes and clips on Twitter and YouTube. And
I need to go back and watch this series, man. Yo, this show is iconic.
it made me wonder if this was another branch of the franchise that had aged poorly. I remember watching almost every new episode as it aired, but back then I saw it as a B-grade show on the channel. Like,
What, dude? A B-grade show? You want to compare it to Banana Joe over there from Adventure? Oh, not Adventure Time. Amazing World of Gumball? What the heck? Looney Tunes show swept these dudes, man. B-show? Jeez, what the disrespect.
I usually caught premieres because of what it was paired up with. What I didn't realize at the time was how much history and backlash was behind this project before a single episode hit the airwaves. Prior to
Why was there backlash? Okay, I wasn't really online. I wasn't really in the online space at the time, so I don't know about any of this.
Looney Tunes show, there was Laugh Riot, Warner Brothers Animation's first attempt to help their classic characters stay relevant. Cause I wouldn't blame kids in the mid-2000s for thinking that Bugs Bunny looked like this.
What's up, Doc?
Some
Yo,
elements from this
edgy.
pitch made their way into the final product, like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote shorts animated in CGI by the Israel-based Crew 972, and original music videos dubbed Merry Melodies. This was going to be a full-on sketch comedy, with the characters taking on new personas in every segment. Kind
The
of
music videos were iconic, man. They showed Elmer Fudd over there with the grilled cheese. Yo, that song is a banger. Y'all need to go out and check it out, man. The Fargo and Lego, the Cock of the Walk. Yo, I know that name sounds really sus, but believe me, that song is badass.
like The Muppet Show. The only finished piece of animation from this incarnation of the series was a 4-minute pitch pilot that was uploaded online in poor quality last year.
Oh, I didn't see this.
The art style is pretty familiar, give or take a few chibi proportions or wild expressions, but the upbeat music and chaotic
do look
tone
more
make this feel
childlike.
like a weird alternate universe version of what we ended up with. Bugs and Daffy didn't live in a house, Porky was Sylvester's owner, Yosemite Sam managed a coffee shop, characters like the Witch, Gossamer, Toro, and Taz were going to be antagonists, and Porky and Daffy's love interests had drastically different designs.
Yo, look how Tina looked there, man. Pink hair. Yo, she looks very different.
Elmer Fudd's shotgun was kept intact, but it shot blasts of paint instead of bullets. I guess that evolved into the paint splatter effect that was all over the backgrounds in Season 1. Between the fart joke and the admittedly annoying pop tune that plays throughout most of the 2D animated portions, this feels like it was aimed specifically at kids, trying hard to keep their attention.
I
The
didn't know
Roadrunner
this.
short that follows it is basically identical to the one that appeared in the series, but it all begs the question of how something this simple was going to sustain a 22-minute block. Unfortunately, we'll never get to know, because once the first completed episode was screened to executives, they laid off most of the creative team behind this production.
I can see why.
The closest we got to seeing Laugh Riot
Oh, Leslie! The massage episode! Yo! The drafts for it. This was hilarious, man. That's one of my favorite scenes in the show, honestly.
fully realized was the episode Casa de Calma, which
Yep.
was reworked from that original pitch. The plot here is a string of shorts based around a new location,
Scarlett
following
Johansson.
the typical 3-act structure. Bugs and Daffy are the only main characters featured, there's more slapstick humor, lots of moment-to-moment music cues,
This
and
episode
even
was
a few
awesome.
fourth wall breaks, all of which wouldn't be commonplace in the Looney Tunes show.
Gotta hand it to those minerals. I look like a kid again.
This was aired as
Looney
episode
Tunes.
7 of Season 1, and at that point in my rewatch, it was a breath of fresh air. Admittedly,
That episode where he's trying to impress Scarlett Johansson, or in their name, Starlet Johansson. Yeah. He was trying to impress her, but then he was like, he couldn't remember her name. He was like, come on, whatever your name is, why don't you look at your future ex-husband? I love Daffy in this episode,
probably
man.
would
He's
have
so
flowed better
funny.
if it was 7 or 11 minutes long, but it had a clear identity, as opposed to some of the early
Yeah.
episodes, as I think those struggle to figure out how to rework a classic cartoon into a sitcom. The Looney Tunes are go-to examples of characters that can work in any scenario you put them in. So
True.
theoretically, seeing how they would function in a California city isn't a bad idea. That's the way to go if you want a consistent setting without any fantastical elements to distract from your cast. For the creative team, it was important that the essence of the tunes remain the same, so that they could develop relationships and show off their human sides when
Yep.
not faced with life or death scenarios. They were also against
agree.
aging down the characters, so that they could explore adult situations. It was refreshing to watch a show aimed at kids without a constant child viewpoint that can tackle the fear of peaking in high school,
Yep.
working a dead-end job, or merging onto a highway.
I'm
Yes.
going for it.
On a similar note,
Daffy is crazy, man. I love Daffy. Yo, his character, he's probably the worst and best character in the show, because he's forever making everyone else's lives miserable. But then there's one episode where they actually say like, yeah, we can't live without Daffy because he brings so much excitement to their life with his wackiness. Yo, but it's true what he says though, like, even though it was a kid's show, they play to the adult themes, which I really appreciate.
I know that toning down the violence was a point of contention for longtime fans, but I'm a little shocked at how appealing
That episode when he took the baby to the cinema.
the program got away with characters firing realistic guns and having them pointed at someone. This kind of danger hits different when the context is relatively realistic. You
Yep.
rarely see that in cartoons like this. Infinity Train
Sure.
wishes it could be this hardcore and mature. Having the tunes in the current day could easily lead to an overabundance of pop culture and celebrity references, but those are few and far between, just as they were
Batman.
decades ago. Obviously, it's still surreal to see Yosemite Sam sing a Cheap Trick song, but the show holds up when it comes to feeling modern, but not outdated. You know, there's a time and place for Bugs to become a hardcore gamer. At the same time, I get the feeling that these characters will never talk like this again.
You got my package? It's the first 3 seasons of Ally McBeal. before Robert Downey Jr. ruined it.
While showrunners Tony Servo
Yo, this is why I love Looney Tunes, man.
and Spike Brandt are notable for being the same driving force behind Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated around roughly the same time period.
Oh my gosh, no wonder why both shows are goated, man. Mystery Incorporated, the Looney Tunes show, goated shows right there. Yo!
I want to spotlight the writing team. The majority of episodes were credited to some combination of Ben Falcone.
Sometimes I can see a scene and I can already envision what is going on. Like that scene with Daffy's got his shades on. He steals these 3D glasses from the cinema and then he puts it on while he's watching TV and he's like, "Whoa, back off, newsman."
Hugh Davidson, Larry Dorff, and Rachel Ramress. Falcone is known for co-writing and directing a few Melissa McCarthy films and left after season 1, while Davidson wrote on 25 episodes of Robot Chicken.
Oh.
Dorff and Ramress were members of the Groundlings, and they've collaborated on multiple projects together. Just off of their credits, this core staff was more familiar with writing for improv comedy than animation, which is completely fine. But you can see how that affected their approach. It's weird for a Looney Tunes series to not have much slapstick until episode 3. The first quarter of the season or so is almost like a heightened sitcom. Something along the lines of Seinfeld or The Odd Couple.
Yes, that's why I love the show so much. It's like a sitcom. It's like you're watching an episode like of Seinfeld, as you mentioned. You're watching an episode of Friends. It just comes across like a sitcom, like How I Met Your Mother, for example. It's that's why I love the show so much. Yo, it's so funny.
Iconic characters subbed in. Having dialogue-driven stories completely fits the brand. It's not like the cast were constantly hitting each other on the heads with mallets and anvils, but the tunes feel like they're here to serve as stock plots instead of showcasing their personalities. I've already seen shows do plots about an annoying girlfriend, or an annoying roommate, or getting handcuffed to an annoying roommate. Outside of a few funny or visually striking moments, seeing Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck tackle these problems doesn't
when they escape from prison.
too much new to the table. Season 1 also has some annoying technical elements, like the commercial break freeze frames that kill the energy of scenes, music cues for establishing shots that repeat too often, and awkward timing that seemingly has breaks for a non-existent laugh track.
But who would want to go to someone else's reunion? Me! I want to go to your reunion! You? Then why didn't you say something earlier?
For me,
I'm sorry. I never noticed it until Nintendo pointed it out, man. The fact is like there's a non-existent laugh track, but it seems like it should be there. That's awesome.
The Looney Tunes show began to find its footing in the episode Eligible Bachelors. Bugs and Daffy both go on dates. Bugs goes on a date in Paris, while Daffy is told a story that takes place in Paris. Except it's during World War II, and Granny is a spy who punches Nazis and saves the Eiffel Tower. It's weird and intense and genuine, and only a story that this show could tell. Even though they take place on opposite ends of the world, the two plots parallel each other nicely, and that will become a hallmark of the narrative structure, especially in season 2. The characters began to take shape through the sitcom conventions instead of being defined by them, creating a strong version of this cast that the series could call its own.
Now, let's turn this blimp around.
Yo, Granny was a badass back
Did it
then,
explode
man.
into a million pieces? It exploded and killed you, didn't it?
You're not very bright, are you?
Huh?
You are not very bright.
In our circle of friends, we all have our roles. You're the average Joe, the everyman.
Porky's the nerd, the loser, and I'm the jock, the hunk.
That makes sense.
The crux of the series is the friendship, or lack thereof, between Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and Porky Pig.
That episode with this episode where Bugs is on drugs and Daffy becomes a fake cop.
Bugs is the everyman, whose unconventional childhood and career as a Nobel Prize-winning entrepreneur have made him successful enough that he can afford babysitting his roommate Daffy, who pursues ego-boosting get-rich-quick schemes on the daily. I don't think it's
Daffy's a scam artist. Look at the fake money he brought there to the coffee shop. Daffy Duck is a legend, man.
Let's just say that he's the funniest character.
Look at that!
Rich quick schemes on the daily. I don't think it's a stretch to say that he's the funniest character here.
Facts.
know you were a liar.
I am this week.
But
I love Daffy so much, but he's probably my favorite cartoon character of all time.
really gifted at almost everything receives less focus over time, but it's at the center of one of my favorites, to bowl or not to bowl. Daffy feels overshadowed by Bugs on his own bowling team. So, in a series of overdramatic close calls, he tries to ensure that Daffy gets the attention he wants, but doesn't deserve. It kinda reminds me of their dynamic in Looney Tunes Back in Action.
I
Yep.
finally found a place where I feel good about myself, and that place is right here.
These two are always butting heads over their contrasting priorities and attitudes, but both are stubborn and easily frustrated. The difference
Yo, it sucks they ended this show by season 2, man. Yo, this could easily do with a season 3, a season 4, heck, season 5 at max. I don't understand why people hated it at the time. Now they only want to appreciate it all these years later. Like, it's crazy.
lies and how Bugs tends to get worked up over wild circumstances, while Daffy overreacts to minor inconveniences or misunderstandings. Like in the episode French Fries, Bugs desperately tries to
The episode where he called off his friendship with Porky. All because of a
The
misunderstanding.
rift in his friend group created when Daffy accuses Porky of stealing fries that he thought were meant for their table.
I thought they were for the table. He thought they were for the table. They were not for the table!
You
Relax,
ate my
he just
french
got his
fries.
playoff tickets.
Porky is usually caught between these two, flipping between serving the demands of the
I feel so sorry for Porky, man. One of the funniest episodes for me was when they were trying to break into Daffy's girlfriend's apartment, right? But they couldn't find a way in. So what Daffy did, he grabs Porky, throws him through the window. Just so he can put his hand through the door to unlock the door. Yeah, Daffy is insane.
Rabbit and Duck, and often bringing out their selfish sides. Everyone ridicules Porky for being single, very
Shame.
gullible, and living alone in a huge house. Daffy even comes to believe that the pig is a murderer.
I remember that episode! Where he thinks Porky's a murderer. Oh my gosh, yeah.
His life lines up with the dark description given by the news. There's some terrific atmosphere and a very silly mystery in that one. I like it a lot.
Until now, the police have had little to go on, other than the assumption that the killer is a creepy recluse who keeps to himself.
That's how I just described Porky.
Porky becomes less of a punching bag in season 2, but he's always a fun sidekick.
My man gets some trim, man. Give him a round of applause. He gets to fall in love with Petunia. They fall in love. They're perfect for each other. I love how they complement each other, man. Yeah, I love Porky, man. Shame.
To have around, even though he's usually at the mercy of the other protagonists.
This episode.
Quick, Ethel, the fly is out of here! What? I can't fly? But you're a duck! I'm not that kind of duck!
The straight man to this tree.
Then later on in that same episode, they ask him to swim them out of there because they were about to jump down a waterfall. And then Daffy's like, but I can't swim. And then Porky asks him, you can't fly, you can't swim, or even a duck at all. Then Daffy's response is, I'm not sure. This comes off pretty easily. And he takes his beak off. Yo, I'm really enjoying this video, man.
Trio is Speedy Gonzalez, the fastest mouse in all of Mexico, who runs a pizza place that's a frequent hangout spot. It makes more
Yes.
sense in context.
Turns out the secret to a successful restaurant? A mouse.
Tell that to the health department.
I like how the absurdity of Speedy comes from his role in the series instead of just his personality, and he's voiced by Fred Armisen as well. I have no problems with the celebrity casting, because admittedly, I'm biased towards the voice cast of the Looney Tunes show. Everyone sounds right to me, because these are the voices that I'm used to. But I think the standout performance was Kristen Wiig as Lola Bunny. Now the character
Lola was awesome. You know, it was a bit of a whiplash for me at first because I grew up watching Space Jam, and that's my first introduction to Lola Bunny. I'm sure it was a introduction to a lot of you freaks out there. You know, I mean, like, yeah, kid, she was the talk of the town back then. But then when she was portrayed in the Looney Tunes show, she wasn't as curvaceous and what other words do I use? Seductive, you know, and people had an issue with that. But in my opinion, the Lola Bunny from the Looney Tunes show is the best portrayal of the character, if you ask me. She has way more personality, and she's so much more funnier compared to eye candy Lola over here.
Space Jam, where her personality traits were being a girl, being over-sexualized, and being good at sports.
Yeah, she was heavily over-sexualized, man. Look at her. Come on now.
All of which screams strong female character. Now she finally has proportions and a zany, overbearing personality that actually fit the Looney Tunes universe.
Not every girl is as stable as me.
There are a few moments where Lola is conventionally sexy, but those are either references or played for laughs. One can be found in the episode Double Date.
Yo, that's this episode!
She gives Daffy relationship advice that backfires, causing her to fall in love with the duck. Bugs feels insecure over not being able to get Lola's attention while she's smitten with Daffy, leading to a moment that defines their relationship.
Daffy's not your boyfriend.
I'm your boyfriend. Say what?
Say that again? That's okay. I have it right here.
I'm your boyfriend.
She's crazy.
I appreciate how low-key Bugs' affection for her is. Like, no one else is patient enough to put up with Lola, but he'll also do whatever it takes to make her happy. Daffy goes out with Tina Russo, a no-nonsense New Yorker who makes...
Tina is perfect for Daffy. She complements his personality so well, man. And the fact that she sees that he's a broken individual and she still wants to be with him and says like she wants to help and fix him. Yeah, that's kind of wild though. But aside from that line, like, she compliments him really well.
Makes him a whole lot more likable, but also deals with the demanding retail job.
I'm just so sick of my job.
She's a good new addition, but it's strange how there's barely any other anthropomorphic animals besides the Toon characters.
That's
Out of
true.
every reinterpretation, Yosemite Sam is probably the most familiar. He can't keep a steady job, he can't maintain his yard, and he has to attend group therapy to overcome his gun obsession. His characterization feels authentic to his classic counterpart, and Sam brings a similar vibe with him whenever he has back and forth with Bugs.
I love me some Yosemite Sam as well. Not again.
On the other hand, Witch Hazel is now a sassy black woman and single mother to Gossamer.
Wait.
On the other hand, Witch Hazel is now a sassy black woman and single mother to Gossamer.
That was wild to me as a kid. That witch is the single mom to the monster Gossamer from where? To clarify, her voice actor is black and her personality plays into that stereotype. It is! But the way she speaks, I don't even want to do the stereotype.
These changes are funny on paper and make them more than horror-themed antagonists, but most of the time they're just plot devices, so they don't have the opportunity to justify these major changes. Same goes for the Tasmanian Devil, who is now Bugs' dog. He still growls and spins, but never leaves the backyard. The character loses potential by being relegated to a house pet. If you want more from the supporting cast, or characters who otherwise weren't present, then maybe you'll like the Merry Melodies. I might have been spoiled by the standard of quality set by shows like Phineas and Ferb, cause these songs are pretty cringe.
Chicken hawk.
I do say so myself. That is disgusting. There's a lot of repeated lyrics or singing about what's happening on screen. Plus, if this is your first exposure to Looney Tunes, you'll be
The cock of the walk,
glad to
man.
believe that the Goofy Gophers are really important, based on how frequently they appear, or that Elmer Fudd is a regular guy who eats grilled cheese sandwiches.
Grilled cheese. That's actually a missed opportunity that Elmer doesn't show up much in the series. He's more like a background character, always showing up on the news and presenting the news and that. But yo, his character as well, like, Yo, there was lost potential there without a doubt.
And drives in the wrong lane.
In the wrong lane? Well, a wrong lane for America. That's a right lane in South Africa, man. You know, we drive in that lane. Just saying. Well, it is based off in America, so they are gonna have that inconsistency.
Grilled cheese, if you please.
I prefer the songs that really capture the personalities of the characters, like Lola's President's Day number, where she names a bunch of celebrities that aren't actually president, at least not yet. A few of these include callbacks to one of the main stories, like Daffy Duck, the Wizard.
Behold the Wizard! Yo, this song, the guitar riff on this song. Yo!
A few early episodes joke about Daffy thinking he's a wizard and getting that profession printed on a business card, and it leads to this overly detailed rock opera where fantasy and reality collide. The art direction on this is stellar, and I'm glad that the merry melodies allowed the storyboard artists to show off and occasionally switch up the visual style. As I mentioned before, the Roadrunner and Coyote shorts switched up the animation entirely, using CGI that allowed for assets to be easily recycled, camera angles that would be tricky to do in 2D, and they didn't need to worry about lip sync, since no one talks. You may feel the urge to skip them because of how intentionally similar each short is, but adding a new dimension to this classic setup did a decent job keeping things fresh. They were a nice breather from the heavy drop shadows, colored outlines, and washed out colors of Season 1. The lead character designer for the Looney Tunes show was Jessica Boretsky, who also developed the Binocular cartoon for Warner Animation a few years later. She wanted to exaggerate features like Bugs' feet and play around with the color palettes. The designs were slightly streamlined between the promotional art and the final character models, but you can still
She created a masterpiece, man.
You'll find remnants of their looks in the merchandise and some of the merry melodies, especially the ones boarded by Boretsky herself. The entire series has strong, exaggerated posing, environments that look lived in, and humans that aren't out of place.
The Fargo and Lego, man. Give it guys shout out. That rooster right there, the Fargo. I say, yo, I love him. Look at here. I say, look at here. Yo, he's hilarious.
Place standing next to a rooster. But when the first pictures were released, people hated the way this looked. I feel bad for the artists who were harassed over things they were paid to draw. 10 years later, and this crap still happens every other week.
Yeah, look, there's worse animation styles out there. And for a show like the Looney Tunes show, yeah, they're gonna hate it because, like, at first glance, a lot of people are gonna hate it because they're used to the old style of Looney Tunes. But there's so much more worse. You got Bluey. You got this crap. You got what else was out at the time? What was that show? Of them green chickens, the breadwinners.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yo, you gotta be kidding me, man. Steven Universe. Well, Steven Universe is a good show, though. By the way, it looks. Just saying.
I can at least understand the backlash when considering how this show would basically become the face of the Looney Tunes brand, barring a few smaller projects. Plus, the rough early episodes probably didn't make the best first impression for those who gave it a chance. Early episodes probably didn't make the best first impression for those.
That kid, brain dead.
Who gave it a chance. It is a little funny to see people jump to conclusions about a cartoon's animation based on a still image. People like Mike Matei, like angry video game nerd Mike Matei, like dress up as Bugs Bunny Mike Matei.
Oh my god!
This guy's a legend.
Like beat up the angry video game nerd dressed up as Bugs Bunny Mike Matei.
What the heck is this video?
How's it feel to be a dying man, nerd?
It's probably a different Mike Matei.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Speaking of changing with the times, I always find it interesting whenever cartoons that run for only 2 or 3 seasons get a sudden overhaul. And that was the case with Season 2 of the Looney Tunes show.
Season 2 did look a little bit different compared to Season 1.
The designs are the same, the colors and backgrounds are much more saturated. Whoever the color stylist was probably hated purple, because Bugs is now gray, and every outfit containing that color is now blue or white. The drop shadows were toned down, and the grimy paint splatters are gone. I know that texture detail may have been distracting to some, but I miss how dedicated the visuals were to that motif. Overall, Season 2 looks more on model, in terms of being in line with the Looney Tunes brand. And I don't think the animation is quite as snappy either. However, I still think that this is the better season.
Porky about to pop a cap in someone's.
Mostly because it wastes less time. There aren't as many drawn out jokes, the pausing between act breaks isn't as awkward, the Roadrunner shorts are gone, and the merry melodies aren't as common. Although, they really loved to have two characters make the same joke individually, and it got old when they did it every few episodes or so.
That hillbilly leprechaun stole my Nobel Prize. You know a hillbilly leprechaun? Yosemite!
Dispatch, it's just a neighborhood dispute between a rabbit and a, sort of like a hillbilly leprechaun.
The downside of only having half as many merry melodies is that we see less of characters like Marvin the Martian and the unique settings that they bring, making each individual episode less memorable as a whole. But the 9 songs produced for this season generally felt more in line with the spirit of the tunes. There's no more POV shots of Pepe Le Pew sexually harassing women.
I remember that. I'm a skunk.
The only spotlight for the most minor characters is The Ridiculous Journey, a road trip episode.
I love the Looney Tunes show. Season 1 and 2 are goated, but this episode sucked. This episode was a waste of time. Them getting lost far from home and them trying to make their way back. It was boring.
With Sylvester, Tweety, Taz, and a slew of obscure classic characters they encounter along the way. Making the protagonist 3 pets who the audience barely has a connection with in this continuity leads to a plot I personally found dull. I'd only recommend this one if
there's
you're
an
a big
ice
fan of
monster.
one of these 3, or anyone else who
His
makes a
name's Hugo.
cameo. There's more important new additions, like Walter Bunny and Cecil Turtle, which give depth to Lola, or highlight Bugs' mischievous side, and both bring more continuity or...
Cecil was one of my favorites in the classic cartoons, but in this series, yo, he's unlikable.
slapstick to the table. Big Chungus himself also makes an appearance.
Big Chungus, man!
Thanks, Looney Tunes mobile game, for making that name canon. Season 2 is definitely stronger in the story department, especially when they inject a little sappiness into the endings. It came off as cliche when they tried it in Season 1, but it solidifies outings like Daffy Duck Esquire, and especially You Got Hate Mail, as some of my favorites from the whole series.
Mine too! That's the episode I mentioned where he throws Porky through the
At
window.
this point, you care enough about everyone that even a duck literally named Daffy can be a compelling character.
So I guess you're not gonna get that respect and admiration you wanted.
What are you talking about? I'll get it by hanging out with you. Here.
You're giving me your tiara?
Loaning
you
my
tiara. Looks better on me.
Love Daffy.
And that's the end.
The Looney Tunes show didn't receive a proper ending. A few of the last episodes brought closure to characters like Yosemite Sam, Porky, and Daffy, but the series finale was Super Rabbit. This weird Superman parody with classic characters taking up the roles of heroes and villains. It expects you to know a lot about the source material coming in and barely has anything to do with the dynamics or setting established in the rest of the series. Although, I'll give it credit for looking like it came straight out of a DC cartoon. None of the main writers worked on this, and it aired a year after the penultimate episode. So I wonder if Super Rabbit was always meant to be a part of this reboot. There's also the Rabbit's Run direct-to-DVD movie that shared some of the same writers and voice
Rabbit's
actors,
Run was
but had
funny.
different characterizations and another change to the art style. Let me know if I should cover it, because that film is kind of its own thing. Although, it's not a bad watch if 2 seasons wasn't enough for you.
That was a funny movie, though.
Is that little hillbilly leprechaun that tried to kidnap us?
It looks like production on this series was cut short, since 2 Merry Melodies were released online but never made it to air, and a few characters featured in the intro were never featured in it.
Yes, a lot of them, like that kangaroo, that the female skunk, the sheepdog looks after the sheep. Yeah, a lot of them didn't show up.
I can't find a concrete source on why there wasn't a 3rd season, but less than 2 years later, Warner Brothers would launch another series that brought the characters back to their roots.
Wabbit. Yeah, that show wasn't bad, but man, it couldn't hold a candle to the Looney Tunes show, man.
Wabbit, later known as New Looney Tunes. Not to be confused with the New Looney Tunes. Man, both of these titles suck. Barely any of Warner Animation's franchise shows last for more than 2 or 3 seasons nowadays. That's just how the studios run. But I'm glad that the Looney Tunes show lives on through headcanons about the cast being LGBTQ. Sure,
Oh.
not all of it holds up, and it could have been a funnier or more faithful reboot. But you know what?
I like it.
All things considered, I think this is a good
Me
watch.
too, man.
While the series doesn't measure up to the original theatrical shorts, it was never trying to. For me, it made
Facts.
stuff like smartphones seem kind of normal for these characters. Something most reboots or long-running franchises could only dream of. In that way, I think it was successful. If you want to introduce a kid to sitcoms, or you're in the mood for a clever and charming hangout cartoon, then give it a chance on HBO Max. I mean, you got Bugs Bunny going to the doctors and asking, "What's up, Doc?" Now that's good writing.
That's all, folks.
Yo, W video, man. Yo, I was geeking out throughout this entire video. I love the Looney Tunes show, man. In my opinion, greatest cartoon. Well, one of the greatest cartoons of all time. Yo, that was such a good watch. Daffy Duck is hilarious. My favorite characters from the show have to be Daffy Duck. I love Bugs, he's the everyman. I love Porky, he gets bullied a lot, makes you feel sorry for the guy. The Foghorn Leghorn. Look at here, I say, look at here, you gotta do it right, boy. I love Foghorn. Lola's awesome, Tina's awesome, Pete Puma. For the real ones who know Pete Puma. Marvin the Martian, yo, like, I love the characters, man, all of them. I just wish it could have gone on for one more season, man. You have shows like a regular show that have like 7 or 8 seasons, I think it is. 7 or 8 seasons, right? Yeah, shows like that, Adventure Time has like 10 or 11 seasons. Like, those were shows that were running also around the same time. It sucks though, like, the Looney Tunes show never caught on at the time it did, because, yo, it only started catching on after it ended. Years later, people were like, what is this show? Why does it only have 2 seasons? Yeah, the regular show, no, not the regular show, man. The Looney Tunes show. Iconic series, and will always have a special place in my heart, man. I love the classic Looney Tunes, but this Looney Tunes adaptation is up there for me. But I appreciate you guys for watching, man. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be sure to be back with another video real soon. Peace.